Hi everyone, this is week 8 for the YouTube Pagan Challenge. Do you have a matron or patron deity? Actually, no. I currently do not have a matron or patron deity. When I first started out, I did, because that was what the book I was reading kind of told me I should do, so I did it. But that relationship kind of faded out, so I don't have one right now. If I was going to pursue one now, if research, research, research. Read the stories associated with the deity, learn about the culture that the deity comes from, learn about their history. After sufficient research has been done, then I might make contact with them, call upon them, do like a journeying or something to converse with them and to kind of, court them in a sense. Be sure to definitely leave them a thank you, because they like that. I think it's a relationship. So like with any relationship, you really want to start out slow. You don't want to just dive into anything heavy, or make major commitments right in the beginning without actually knowing. Think of like who your best friend is. They grew. That relationship grew over time, and that's kind of what you do with deity. You just don't go Pikachu, I choose you, and then you just work with Pikachu. Guess you could, but it's important to establish a relationship with a deity if you're going to work with them. You know, because you also have to realize that there might be obligations, possibly, or consequences of working with them. They might demand things of you, and you have no idea when you're getting involved with anybody where that path is going to go. So it's nothing to jump into lightly. That's for sure. I mean, I don't have a matron or patron right now because my path isn't entirely religious in the usual context. I think, if you're going to work with deities specifically or have a matron or patron, that you're pretty much walking some form of a religious path. That's a given, I would think. I think having a matron or patron would fulfill that connection that one might need to divinity. But honestly, as a witch, I don't think they're very necessary. I don't think they're necessary for one's path as a witch. If you're not really practicing a religion, but you're practicing a craft, like I say, I view my path as a witch as being more of a craft than a religion. So to me, deities aren't really, or having a matron or patron is really unnecessary. As an animist, I work with the ancestors, I work with the land spirits. I like to quote Peter Pagan in regards to this, where he says that deities give you things you need, while the ancestors give you things you want. I like that. And that's why I work more with the ancestors. I mean, I think I would work with deity if it came down to it. I would say, if I was going to work with deity, I would establish a relationship with them, and it would be for a very specific reason, and it would be completely voluntary on both of our parts to engage in that relationship, and it would even be contractual, meaning there would be obligations, and it would exist for a certain time, and then we would go upon our way. So if you have a matron or patron, I think that's more about worship than it is about magic, for example. And that's fine. That's just not my path. As a witch, I really have a reason for a matron or a patron specifically. So, I mean, having a matron or patron deity, I know historically that tends to be the case. People were part of this cult or that cult, and they honored Diana or Dionysus or what have you. But I think in modern times, I think that's mostly an influence of Wicca, personally, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail for that, but I do think that's a very big influence of Wicca. I also think it's a partial influence of our upbringing. Honestly, I think a lot of us who grew up with a monotheistic background, when you change religions, one of the things that you look for is deity. You don't want to not have deity. So I think there's this weird default to take, to fulfill that void. You remove Yahweh, you remove Jesus or Mary or what have you from your understanding and your views about life and the cosmos, and you have to plug them in with something, right? I think that's a part of it. That part of that need to have a matron or patron. I think it's really necessary. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't think it's very necessary in this day and age, especially as a witch. I mean, I think witchcraft is a sovereign practice. Okay? Sovereignty. It's a practice of sovereignty. So self-governance, complete independence and self-governance. If you have a matron or patron deity, you're starting to serve them and worship them and work with them. So there's a little bit of submission going on, which means there's a loss of sovereignty. In my opinion, there's a loss of sovereignty there, which I think is a little against the path of being a witch, but that is only my opinion. Okay? You know, it's kind of why I'm against some of the aspects. If some of you have read my blog, I'm kind of against certain aspects of initiation rituals where you get bound to a group, or your high priestess, for example. You know, you become subservient to that group. I think that's counter to witchcraft as being a sovereign practice. So, I mean, having a matron or patron, it doesn't really work for me. That's me. And I keep stressing that because that's just me. But that doesn't go to say that deities don't have a role. They still exist in my cosmology. I just don't always go to them. You know, and it's not about mixing and matching and just plugging a deity into the socket if when you need them, but you cultivate the relationship, you build that up, they give you what you need, you give them what they need. Quid pro quo, right? Equal pay for equal service, you know. So I urge anyone before picking a matron or a patron, or you know, devoting their practice to someone, take it slowly. Play the field, as they say. You know, treat it like any relationship. You can have lots of friends, but you don't have to just force one or two of them to be your uber special bestest friend. It's not really necessary. It's not a bad thing, but it's not really necessary, and it shouldn't be forced, and there shouldn't be. I think I'm talking in the sense that there is this possible expectation for someone to have a matron or a patron. Don't think you have to have one, because you don't. But if you feel this inclination towards a particular pantheon or a particular set of deities, go with it. Learn about it, enjoy it, explore that. That's the beauty of paths like ours. We have that freedom to do that. You know, but tread with respect, tread lightly, don't step on any toes, and have a good time with it. I don't foresee me having a matron or patron in the future. Because right now, like I say, my path is more of a sovereign path. It's more witchcraft than religion. It's more of a, spirituality or shamanistic. There's that term. So I don't really feel the need to worship, to honor, but we do, we acknowledge the ancestors and all that. So I think really because of my animistic leanings, my leanings towards deities have waned a little. They're there. I think that they're there. I don't really think that they think I'm there. I think a lot of thinking going on here. But for a human to believe that a deity gives two shits about them is pretty egotistical. It's pretty egotistical. So I have a bit of an approach to deity like they do in voodoo, where deity is kind of away, separate, and in voodoo they deal with the loa, the spirits, and that's kind of where we're at with our practice. We deal more with the land spirits and the ancestors. Don't really deal so much with deities. We might, but right now it's not on the calendar. So, but I hope you enjoyed that. Definitely subscribe if you did. This channel's fun. I've been enjoying it. Leave a comment if you like. Visit me online at infinite-beyond.com, and you have yourselves a wonderful time.